The rise and fall of Hitler, a cinematic story of power, obsession, love, and destruction. The winter wind howled through the narrow streets of Braunau am Inn, a small town in Austria, where a fragile child named Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889. No one could imagine that this silent boy with burning eyes would one day drag the world into fire and blood. His father, Alois, was harsh, cold, and unforgiving. His mother, Clara, loved him deeply like he was the center of her universe. Young Adolf feared one parent and worshipped the other. Inside him, two storms were growing at once: rage and obsession. As a teenager, Hitler dreamed not of war, but of art. He wandered the beautiful streets of Vienna carrying sketches under his arm, imagining himself becoming a famous painter. But destiny crushed his dream when the Academy of Fine Arts rejected him. Twice. The humiliation shattered something inside him. Alone, poor, and angry, he slept in homeless shelters while hatred slowly poisoned his heart. In the dark cafes of Vienna, he listened to extremist ideas, nationalism, and speeches blaming minorities for society's problems. Bit by bit, the failed artist transformed into a man consumed by bitterness. Then came the thunder of World War I. When war exploded across Europe in 1914, Hitler joined the German army with fanatical passion. In the muddy trenches, bullets screamed through the night while explosions turned battlefields into hell. He served as a messenger, running through gunfire while soldiers died around him. For the first time in his life, he felt purpose. Germany's defeat in 1918 devastated him. To Hitler, it wasn't just a military loss. It was humiliation. He believed Germany had been betrayed from within, and that belief became the fuel for his rise. In smoky beer halls of Munich, Hitler discovered something more powerful than weapons: words. His speeches hypnotized crowds. His voice rose like thunder. His eyes blazed with fury, and broken citizens desperate for hope listened in silence. Germany was drowning in economic collapse, unemployment, and shame after the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler promised revenge, pride, power, a reborn Germany. The crowds grew larger, the chants grew louder, and the world failed to see the darkness approaching. By the 1930s, Hitler and the Nazi Party had become unstoppable. Using propaganda, fear, and manipulation, he turned public anger into political power. In 1933, Hitler became Chancellor of Germany. But power was never enough for him. Within months, democracy was crushed beneath his boots. Opponents vanished. Newspapers were silenced. Children were taught to worship him like a savior. Giant rallies filled with red banners, flaming torches, and screaming crowds transformed Germany into a machine built around one man. A dictator had risen. But behind the terrifying image of the Führer was a strange and secret love story. Hidden from the public eye was Eva Braun, a quiet young woman who fell deeply in love with Hitler. While the world saw a ruthless leader, Eva saw a man who laughed at movies, loved dogs, and dreamed of peace after victory. Their relationship remained hidden because Hitler wanted Germany to see him as married only to the nation itself. Eva waited for years in loneliness, while Hitler became consumed by war and ambition. Then came the firestorm that changed history forever. In 1939, igniting World War II. Across Europe, Nazi forces marched like an unstoppable shadow. Cities burned, millions died, tanks rolled through nations, while fighter planes darkened the skies. Hitler's dream of conquest became a nightmare for humanity. Under his regime, the Holocaust began, one of history's darkest horrors, as millions of Jews and innocent people were murdered in concentration camps. At first, Hitler seemed invincible. France fell. Europe trembled. Crowds hailed him as a genius, but power blinded him. In 1941, Hitler made the fatal mistake of invading Soviet Union. The brutal Russian winter destroyed German forces. Starving soldiers froze in snow-covered wastelands while Allied armies closed in from every direction. The empire Hitler promised would last 1,000 years began collapsing in flames. By 1945, Berlin had become a graveyard. Bombs rained from the sky day and night. Buildings crumbled. Smoke covered the city like eternal darkness. Deep beneath the ruins, inside a cold underground bunker, Hitler sat broken and exhausted. The once roaring dictator now looked like a ghost of himself. Hands shaking, eyes hollow, dreams destroyed. Yet Eva Braun remained beside him. As Soviet forces stormed Berlin, Hitler finally married Eva in the bunker during the final hours of his life. It was a tragic and haunting moment. While the world above burned, the dictator and his loyal companion shared a quiet wedding surrounded by fear and death. But Hitler refused surrender. On April 30, 1945, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun locked themselves inside a private room. Outside, explosions shook the bunker walls. Moments later, a gunshot echoed through the underground corridors. Hitler had taken his own life. Eva swallowed poison beside him. The man who once commanded millions died in darkness beneath a collapsing city. His empire vanished. His armies surrendered, and the world he tried to conquer remembered him not as a hero, but as a warning of what happens when hatred becomes power, when propaganda becomes truth, and when one man's obsession turns the world into ashes. The story of Hitler is not a story of greatness. It is the story of ambition without humanity, and how even the most powerful dictators cannot escape the consequences of destruction. In the end, the failed artist who dreamed of painting beautiful worlds became the man who burned them instead.